If you watched my last video, I told you I was ready to share my full story. So today, we're doing it. I want to start from the beginning because who I am right now, the author, the speaker, this channel, none of it makes sense without what I'm about to tell you. Okay. I've loved God since I was 5 years old. By 10, I knew I wanted to tell the entire world about him. I started a blog at 11. I went public with my faith early, really early. And I want you to understand that because what happened next hit me when I was the most publicly committed to God I had ever been. When I was 13, I started having hip pain and back pain. My parents thought I wasn't stretching enough. I was in worship dance at the time, so it made sense. Then one day, I was running with my mom, and she noticed my feet were turning inward. She thought it was just poor form. It wasn't. We went to a chiropractor and discovered I had a 2-curve 45-degree S-curve scoliosis, both directions at the same time. I was 13 years old and doctors told my family I was too old for a brace. The next option being discussed was spinal fusion surgery. Do you know what that means? That means they open your back, fuse your vertebrae together with rods, and you spend months bedridden, learning to walk again, physical therapy, months of your life gone. I was 13. But then, we came together as a family and we prayed. And God sent us to a doctor who said, let's watch it closely. Let's not rush this thing. But he was honest with us too. He said if the curve continued to progress, emergency surgery would be necessary. So we waited. And waited, and we watched, and we prayed, and then the nerve pain started. I don't know if you've ever experienced chronic nerve pain. I didn't know what it was. All I knew was that suddenly everything hurt. And I mean everything. Taking a shower was painful, not uncomfortable, painful. If someone brushed past me lightly, it hurt. My own family couldn't hug me. I couldn't sit at a dinner table with them. I walked hunched over for months because my hips couldn't handle standing straight. Literally everything overnight changed. We saw doctor after doctor multiple times a week for months. None of them could explain what was causing the nerve pain. None of them could tell us how to stop the pain. Pain medications damaged my skin, my nails, my hair, and nobody had answers. I became very depressed, just honest. And I was a little bit ashamed of that because I trusted God so much publicly. I felt like, I was doing him dishonor. I was a teenage girl who had gone publicly out into the world saying, I love God and I want to tell everyone about him. And I was in 24-hour pain and no explanation and no end in sight. And I was struggling. Publicly, people could see me struggling. Some friends became enemies. People made jokes, made comments. One side of my waist is naturally straight and the other curves, and people noticed and said things. 13, 14 years old. And it bothered me because I noticed. I didn't like it. I became socially awkward because nobody around me understood what I was going through. How do you explain to a friend that they can't hug you or you can't hug them? That you can't come to their party because sitting in a chair for that long is unbearable. My little sister, Kai, she watched me through all of this. She watched her big sister in agony and pain for months and months. She watched my parents on their knees praying, and she started to doubt God. That broke something in me. Seeing my little sister's faith waver because of what was happening to me. That was almost harder than the pain itself. I knew God was a healer. I had believed that my whole life, but I was worn down. I was exhausted. I was in pain every single night with no end in sight. And I started asking, why hasn't he healed me yet? Why is it still happening? And eventually, the thought crept in, maybe healing just isn't in his plan for me. My entire family was worn down. I was worn down. And one day I went to my mom and told her, I want the surgery. But then something happened. something I cannot explain medically, something I can only explain as God. And I'm going to tell you exactly what happened next week. Subscribe so you don't miss part 2. Holy Rebel, link in bio. I wrote this book in the middle of this story.